Hello 1/3 scale gun collectors. I'm not sure if this is 1/3 scale, but I want to show how this arrived. I bought this from AliExpress expecting to be in some sort of counterfeit box, but it was literally just sent in this. I don't know if this is used, or maybe like a show model, or maybe they just don't use boxes, although I have, other ones. And what the heck is the battery doing in here? Well, let's find out. So it's supposed to be die-cast metal. It's an M4 rifle, which is derived from the military M16, which was derived from the Armalite AR15. They're the original designers of this rifle, and that happened in 1956. But then Colt took over because Armalite was having financial problems. All right, this is gonna take a while. I'm just gonna come back. Jeez, that was a crazy amount of plastic wrap, but it looks like everything's in good shape, like no scratches or anything like that, so the plastic wrap did its purpose. Oh, there's that. It's from Airsoft. BB's hurt, even when you wear gloves. Alright, well, this little muzzle flash thing here is removable, but it's pretty ugly without it, so I might just thread lock that on there later. I will say, the graphics of this, I think maybe it's hydrographics, but I think a lot of the graphics, they're not cleaned up very well. So you might have to go around some of these things with like a hobby knife just to get that extra plastic out of there. Alright, see, it's a little bit ugly, but I don't know of a better way for them to get such crazy graphics, this printed stuff around the thing, right? So yeah, just get a little X-Acto knife here, just scrape the edge a little. I'm literally cutting some of the metal. Just clean it up a little bit. I think it's worth the extra minute. Yeah, a little bit better, right? Okay, yeah, so that screws on if you want to play with that. This little strap ring here, it is pivotable, of course, and it's got a little Phillips screw holding it in place. The graphics are really neat. This one's called the Sakura flower graphic because it looks like Japanese sakura flowers. What is a sakura? Is it a plum or a cherry tree? I forget. Okay, well, let's see. We'll have to figure out what that... Oh, does this come out? No instructions, right? So this cover, yeah, there's a magnet there, so maybe this piece is made of steel because the magnet works, and that little spring helps, I guess, open that when you pull the cocking handle back. But you gotta, I think, pull it back quickly. Yeah, if you pull it quickly, you'll flip down. Alright. Yeah, these graphics are really neat, bearing in mind they're gonna scratch off very easily because it's just a thin film of plastic, or ink on plastic. Alright, well, there's no selector switch on this side, so this screw must be holding the other side in. This must be holding maybe the top part down. But here is the selector switch, and you can see safe semi-auto. They are actually debossed into the thing, so that's really neat. I hope that's not an air pocket right there. Anyways, you might scratch this up if you use this a lot. I'll just leave it on safe. Yeah, it doesn't even go all the way. I think there's probably some molding flash. This thing, I think, is metal, by the way. All this is die-cast metal of some sort. Okay, this thing doesn't do anything, I don't think. It's just there for appearance. And then the mag catch, it is spring-loaded, so that's neat. See it coming out the other side. And then the trigger. Now the trigger, no, that actually still might be metal. Yeah, it is metal. So that's impressive. All this is metal. So you can play around with it, maybe even drop it, and it might not break. No guarantees, though. So you got this, these two screws holding that pivot point in place. Let's try to put this together. I think this is called the buffer tube. I think this might be spring-loaded. Maybe this just pops on. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty neat and very convenient, right? It would have been neat if they have, like, or maybe they're future-proofing to have some sort of just flat plate so it becomes more like a pistol. That was really easy to do. I wonder if this, oh, yeah, pull that back, comes off. Very neat. Okay, so then the buttstock here, yeah, it's got all the Sakura graphics looking pretty cool. This is also all metal, at least so far. Yeah, I think that's metal. what is this? This is plastic, whatever it is. It's actually holding the screw with a spring, so you can adjust this on the this tube here. Little strap thing there, but also here, which I imagine is held in place by that Phillips. Very rough texture here. That would be really painful to shoulder. Interesting, they don't have like a little rubber piece there. Alright, so it won't go in there unless you actually actuate that thing just like on a real rifle. And you got the 4 index holes there. But really it's 5 positions, right? I think. No, it is 4 positions. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's really sweet. Yeah, it comes up pretty flush. Alright, so then nice and easy to just slap on there. Very cool. I'm really impressed so far. Very nice. Okay, boy, what else? Oh, you know what? There's a silencer, so that is maybe something you don't want to thread lock after all, if you want to run the silencer. And the silencer is knurled very nicely. Granted, the graphics are a little bit scratched off because, again, it's a thin film of printing. It's not hollow. That would have been cool if it was hollow all the way through, or at least a little deeper. So I suppose you could add some black paint in there to make it more realistic. Right now, I think it's made of brass. Just looking at the color of it inside there, but I might be mistaken. Oh boy, this is very long now. So, in fact, I'm gonna have to scale this later. I'm just trying to decipher which is the top and the bottom of this handguard here. Also, this spring. So this must be the back, this must be the front. There's a notch, there's 2 notches here. Oh, so they're offset notches, so that will help you figure out which side is the top and bottom. I'm gonna guess this is the bottom. I could be wrong, but it looks like there's actually 4 rails attached to this whole system here. Like there's literally screws, I think, and yeah, the graphic stops. So these rails are actually separate pieces if you want to remove them. So you could get maybe 2 and have different appearances. So if that's put together that way, there's 1 notch here, a second, kind of 2 notches, 3 notches, unless this is backwards. Could possibly go this way. No, this piece doesn't. This piece is directional. This is a thicker end than this side here. So this has to go under something. Probably that front piece. Okay, just based on the thickness here, how thin these are, how thick those are, I'm thinking the thicker ones go towards the receiver and these go towards the tip of the barrel. Could be wrong. Again, no instructions. I'm just trying to figure this out here. Try to get this under this washer thing here. Okay, so that's in there. Now I gotta push this up against the spring to get this on. Alright, so that's good. That's nice and easy. Ooh, be careful though. Look at this. These screws are so long, they're gonna scratch off these graphics very easily. I almost feel like they're just a little too long. I might actually Dremel those a little bit so they don't scratch up the, well, forget it. It's a rifle, who cares? It's supposed to get scratched. Okay, so let's pop in this front one now on the top. So, by the way, yeah, the shorter opening is for the top. The bottom, the larger opening below those tabs in this disc here is for the bottom. So I'm just putting the front in first. It just seems easier. Oh, at least on the first part. Maybe it's easier now this way. Oh yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I just did the opposite way of the bottom. Okay, well that's actually quite nice. You know, this is really smart, this little lock ring, how it's spring loaded. And then you could remove the 4 rails or however you feel. So this is coming together nicely. Okay, what else do we have here? This might be a lock ring to hold a silencer. Maybe. I mean, what else I don't see any threaded parts of this size. So if I throw this on here, and then, you know, the silencer, I'm sure it's supposed to look like that to keep the silencer from falling off. Okay, but actually, you know what? Since I have to measure this first, I want to see if it's 1/3 scale. We'll have to just try to go with the stock arrangement first. This is for the stand, if you want to jam this up in here, but there's no screw or anything like that, and it's quite loose. So be mindful of that. Oh, I see, never mind. There's a hole here and a hole in this, so you want to line up these two holes, and that'll explain why this came with a little screwdriver. And did it come with a screw? I saw a magnet thing. Here it is. So the magnet is keeping you from losing the screws. And they're identical. They're just flush countersunk screws here. Alright, let's get this thing in here. And the thing is already threaded. You don't have to tap it. But don't tighten it because this is die cast. This is a very weak metal. You'll strip it out very easily. That's secure enough. All metal. All die cast alloy. Okay. Now the magazine. This is also die cast of some sort. Maybe this isn't. I don't know. That feels like plastic, but it doesn't bother me. That is crazy. They went to the trouble of even putting the graphic on this thing. That's interesting. Okay, little bit. The 3 bullets look pretty good. They're not very pointed though. They're almost like Hydra shocks or something with the blunt tip. They are brass and they do look pretty realistic, minus the tip of them. Maybe there are rifle rounds like this now. I don't shoot real guns. I don't know if this is going to eject the rounds, but we'll find out. That looks pretty sweet, right? Now they're staggered like a real clip would have them. Although this one, wait a second, maybe that's misaligned. Or maybe not. Maybe that's the way it works. The back just looks like it's a single stack. Okay, will this go in without the mag release being used? Yes, it will. It'll get past that, so it's a ramped mag release. And I know I lost focus, sorry. I only have 2 hands. Works pretty well. In fact, let's see it move that thing. I moved it a little bit, as it should. Alright, so there you have a base M4 rifle with the pretty cool graphic. And then we have some iron sights. So this thing literally unscrews and grabs the Picatinny rail. And it's got the graphics all over it. I don't know what that is for. Does it screw into something here? I don't know what the holes are for. Maybe it's for some other part you could get on a different rifle. Just screw this on. Oh, it doesn't actually have the tooth though to keep this from sliding. You know, the groove to fit in there, the tooth to fit into those grooves. It is easier to work with though. So I'm going to put it back here. And let's see if we can look down the sights. Yep, that's functional. Yeah, it's right around the right elevation, I would say. So then what the heck is this? Oh, that's probably what this hole is for. Oh, that's what that threaded piece is for. I'll be darned. Okay, so it is not to keep the silencer from falling off. This is a screw for this, some sort of height adjusting sight, which is kind of neat. Get a few threads on there. Slap this back on here. Tighten that like that. Come on, line up. think it's upside down. The hole in this this rail grip here, it's offset, so I was putting it upside down, so you gotta be mindful to hold it in a proper manner, in particular like this, before you tighten it down. Slide it back. Okay. Oh, well, sadly, you know, this thing actually blocks the front sight. If it only had a little groove, or even better, it would be a hole in there, but, you know, there's only so much you can do with the budget, I guess. And then, I'll just leave it on there because I don't want to lose it. It's just trying to align it properly. That's good enough. Alright, that's pretty sweet. Now let's see it on the stand. I see, so the stand, it rests on the magazine. It's so weird. I don't know why this is here. Okay, I'll use it for something, some sort of light. I think it's smart that they give you this little magnet, so you do have an extra screw, yeah, in case you lose it. So the internet says an M4A1, which is what the AliExpress listing stated this is, 29.75 inches. So I gotta actually work in inches, the dumb way of measuring things. I find it funny that people take offense to measuring things stupidly with inches. I grew up in the West. I went to 2 universities, and it's stupid to measure things in inches. Like, what is this? It's 9 and 14 7/8. I guess that's 9 and 7/8. Like, making scale models with a 7/8 fraction, that's just ridiculous. So now I gotta actually figure out what 7/8 is. So 7 divided by 8, or 8 divided by 7. Hold on. Alright, 7 divided by 8 is 0.875 plus 9 equals that. Memory plus, I guess. So now 29.75 divided by this. 29.75 divided by... see? I don't know. Maybe I just don't even know how to use a calculator. This is just ridiculous. So look what I had to do. I had to go to the internet and literally type in all this ridiculousness. It is around 1/3 scale though, so that's conveniently nice. It's just not conveniently measured. I think America and the 2 other stupid countries that measure things in inches must lose billions of man hours just dealing with this stupid way of measuring things. And yeah, you can take offense, but it's true, you know? When things are truthful, it hurts. There's so many M4 rifles with different front ends, sights, butt stocks, all that stuff, but this is the closest one I could find. This seems to be a longer barreled version. But if you look at the front sight, that matches up very well. I don't know, this is probably a different one than this, but it's similar. It's got this whole spring-loaded thing here. All in all, I think it looks quite good, actually. It's got this ovalized mag release. This one doesn't have the dual-sided selector switch. The assist push, though, is very rounded to come out of the mold properly. But this stock, whatever it's called, yeah, it matches up pretty well. The threads are not shown on this. That's understandable, I would say. I would say it's a pretty good representation, though. So now the question is, will it eject shells? I guess I have to hold it this way. I'm going to just pull this back, slam that forward, pull that back. No. Yeah, it's not pushing any shells into any barrel. This thing, it really could maybe use that little notch to keep it from sliding, because I have tightened it all the way and it still slides. So that could have been designed very easily as better, like more realistic. I don't know why there isn't a tongue on this thing. Alright, well, let's see. Let's get a flashlight and see what's going on inside here. Alright, so that barrel is totally solid. And then, yeah, the bullets are visible way down there because, you know, they're not going to be ramped into the barrel. So, this is also pretty clean looking. Yeah. Still, it's very neat. And look, the graphics is actually on the inside of the whole receiver. That's pretty crazy. I don't know why or how they would even get that in there. If it was hydrographics, wouldn't the hydrographics stretch out? But what else would it be? How else would you get this kind of wrap around graphic on something, right? Literally the thing is wrapping around surfaces. So leave a comment if you have some other theories. Okay, well, still pretty cool little fidget toy, you know, and also it feels solid because it's, you know, metal, but it's also very rackety, I guess like a real gun. And then this thing here, yeah, it spins around and it's still scratching the graphic as it does so. Yeah, that's interesting they wouldn't use maybe even longer screws to lock this thing in place. Either shorter screws to keep it from scratching the barrel, or longer screws so it doesn't do this, right? I guess you could swap those out if you really were motivated, but I am not motivated to do so. And then, if we do slap the silencer on, how long is it? Worst case, well, I guess shortened with the buttstock down. Oh boy, it's not easy. It is coming in around 20, a little under 29 centimeters, or 11 and a little over a quarter. With the buttstock open, okay, I think that's maximum. I think this is going to exceed my ruler. No, it's just fitting. No, it is past it. I don't know. I can't answer this. It's over 12 inches and it's over 30 centimeters. Okay, so it's pretty sizable. Definitely a lot, you know, 3 times smaller than a regular one. Sorry, I actually have an two M4 airsoft rifles, but they're in my car. I'm not gonna go get them. I live 21 stories up in the air. I do have another rifle to compare it to, though. I almost forgot. That's the AK-47 is the tool. I think this was 1/3 scale also. I can't remember. I review these things so such a big time span between reviews, and still, this is nice. Though I had to modify this a lot now that I recall. The whole insides were falling apart. They were poorly designed, so I had to crazy glue those things in place. I had to also file down this top piece just so this front end could sit more flush with the receiver. So yeah, as cool as a gold AK-47 looks, this one you're probably gonna have to modify it to make it look nice. Yeah, you might want to watch the review of that one. And also the fake wood, which I can understand for the price or not. I don't know. I kind of feel, I mean, maybe they could have made it of real wood. I mean, there's some 1/6 scale rifles with real wood stocks. I suppose the price would like double or triple if they did do that. So, alright, so there's that. And then I have this, what the heck was this? A SIG MCX. But this one measured out to be bigger than 1/3 scale. So, it's still my favorite rifle though, I think. This cool little short barreled, but still full-sized rifle. This ejects? No ejection on this either. This one is a cool fold-down stock. You kind of lift it up, and then you can fold it. So it's more now like an SMG, but with a rifle caliber. Pretty crazy. This thing must be a beast to handle in the real world. It's got a cool little front end, although it's not aligned properly. This should be vertical, but I like the way it looks with this horizontal. And there's a silencer, but you can look up the review of this if you really are inclined to learn more about that one. Or this one. I was very worried when I opened this in a bag and all the parts were individually wrapped. But it seems to all be there, and it's all very nice. There was no defects, no scratches, nothing like that. So I guess this is probably just the way that they're sold. I'm positive this casting is, you know, originally maybe commissioned by Goatguns. But I don't know if Goatguns ever released their rifles with these crazy graphics. Leave a comment if you know for sure. Since I live very far from the US, I'm not going to buy a Goatguns. The shipping would be like $40. So, not going to happen. So, all in all, this is pretty nice. It could have been designed slightly better. Mainly this sight rail. It doesn't have the notch, so it just slides. And then, it is obviously a little wobbly. But it is what it is. It's still pretty cool to fidget around with, and yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you for watching. We'll see you the next time we do a 1/3 scale pistol or rifle.